releases of Super Meat Boy and Dark Souls have proved anything, it's that there's still a place for hard games in this modern market of casual Care Bears, and few franchises can hold a hardcore candle to that of Ninja Gaiden, which is back for its third installment with iconic ninja Ryu Hayabusa.
You're late, Mr. Scary Ninja.
Ninja Gaiden games are notorious for being hard. They look like a normal action game, but with far more emphasis on evading. There's no barreling through attacks like Kratos here. In some fights, the vast majority of what you're doing is dodging, and just trying to sneak some hits in where you can. Combos are almost a red herring, as you'll rarely have time to finish one. This is a fact people come to terms with very early on in a Ninja Gaiden game. In the first, on Xbox, your first smackdown comes from your supposed friend, and we'd be interested to know what proportion of people quit the game right there and then. The bosses only get harder until you get up to this asshole. As a result, the Ninja Gaiden series epitomizes the reason games have become easier in the last decade. Why spend effort developing an ending to a game, or even a second half, that people just aren't going to see? Ninja Gaiden 3 is the first to follow this trend, and like a pendulum swinging to the other side, it drastically overshoots the mark. We were faintly aware of some kind of story being trotted out, but since playing an action game for the story is like buying Penthouse for the articles, we'll get to the point. Your ancient dragon clan of ninjas has long been pitted against the Black Spider clan, and now there's a new enemy, the Alchemists, to worry about.
The death of the Dragon Clan and its outdated ways will mark the birth of a new millennium!
These alchemists inflict a supposed curse on you, and if you couldn't tell, I was using quotation marks around supposed, because this curse actually makes you more powerful, in that every time you succumb to it, you kill everyone in one hit. Not that you'll have much of a problem anyway. Ninja Gaiden 3 casts aside its traditions to become one of the most noob-friendly action titles we've seen in years. Cutting swaths through enemy ranks has never been easier, requiring little dodging at all, and even less knowledge of combos. And if you think you'll get more of a challenge from the inappropriately named Hero mode, think again. This mode actually blocks and dodges for you. So in a franchise known for its uncompromising and intricate combat, this is an installment that offers an easy mode and an easier mode. Team Ninja, it seems, knows not the consequences of turning your back on your own clan. That's just one of two sins, the other being something that would be considered bad design no matter what the franchise, and that is every fight in the game is the same. You've got your light fodder enemies, your slightly tougher ones that can block until you heavy attack, and guys off to the side firing projectiles at you to make you dodge. Every single fight follows this formula right up until the end. Sure, there's a bit of this,
Ninja!
some of this, and best of all, breaking the monotony, are boss fights, which are one of the game's strengths. But the vast majority of time is spent in this type of encounter, and limited to the one weapon and combo set, you've fast seen everything the game has to offer. After you've made enough fountains of blood from a single enemy, you can trigger one of Hayabusa's very cinematic, very samey execution animations. These can chain into more executions, and during this animation you're invulnerable. Not only are these execution animations the quickest way to kill enemies, they're actually the best way to avoid damage, creating a combat system that rewards button mashing. There are two super attacks, one of which does 5 or so executions all at once, and one which clears the screen completely of enemies. These two supers actually raise the meter for each other, meaning you can chain supers together as well, making short work of anything. Therefore, our 10 seconds of unedited game footage this week will be the same combat we've been showing all episode, because that's the entire game.
Can't die yet! Gotcha! Now, get in around him!
So each kill is the same, each fight is the same. Other than the boss fights, Ninja Gaiden 3 is like a magician that booked a 3-hour show with 1 hour's worth of tricks. Along the way, new enemies are introduced that fit into its formula, but swapping out your blonde assistant for a redhead doesn't change the actual trick, and that brings us to endgame. Ninja Gaiden 3 isn't a bad game, it's very cinematic, very stylish. It's just that while its predecessors demanded that you learn their intricate systems in order to progress, number 3 just gives you whatever you want right at the start without trying. Slapping a successful name on a game that probably doesn't belong in the series might be profitable short term, but it destroys faith in the franchise. Maybe it should have been called Ninja Gaiden. Either way, if you're gonna have the same fight throughout the entire game, you need to make that fight a lot more interesting than Ninja Gaiden 3 has. This magician probably should have learned a few more tricks before booking his show.